Today we're gonna start a new chapter. The chapter is about it says discovery. So it's this one. Let me see. Let me share the screen. Let me open. Espera, who's waiting? Samudio. Samudio. Okay, Samudio. Let me see about this one. The great discoveries. Now, after the revolution, the scientific revolution, comes the discovery era, where everybody wanted to go outside and let's see what is beyond that sea or that ocean. So they start doing some voyage and trying to discover new places. So that's why they call it the voyage of discovery. The great voyage of discovery is this chapter, okay? Now, let's begin now. The main idea, Europeans, basically they were the ones. Europeans had the desire and opportunity to explore. Desire and opportunity to explore, it says. Interest in discovery and exploration grew in Europe in the 1400. Improvement in navigation tools, cartography, and shipbuildings allow European sailors to go further than they ever had before. Why did people set off to explore the world in the 15th century? First, they wanted resources such as a nation spicy. Ellos querían más recursos. Por ejemplo, ya saben que en Asia había muchas especies para la comida. Italy and Egyptian controlled the trade routes. Italia y Egipto controlaban las rutas de negocios to Asia. Changing very high price of pricing. Y hacía que hacía mucho más caro los precios de los espacios. In fact, pepper costs more than a gold. Imagínense. El pepper, el pimentón costaba mucho más que el oro, imagínense, qué locura. Son las especies que ellos querían, los europeos. Now, European Christians wanted to convert more, and also también querían convertir a más a cristianos, convert more people to their religion to counteract the spread of counterattack the spread of Islam in Europe, Africa and Asia. Querían contraatacar y neutralizarlo. Now, las causas de los grandes viajes. Europeans became more curious about the world. People were looking for adventures. Europeans improved navigation tools, and I spoke already. Europeans wanted resources. Ellos querían más recursos. European Christians wanted to convert more people. So these are the main causes why they start doing this voyage, guys, okay? Now, as the desire to learn more about the world grew, new invention and knowledge spread rapidly. More and more European countries became interested in finding trade routes and settling new lands. The main idea, Portuguese nowadays, the Portuguese and Spanish people, they control the area of America, most of the area of America. Portuguese and Spanish exploration led the discovery of a new trade routes, lands, and people. A man who never went on any sea voyage was responsible for much of Portuguese success up the seas. Known as the Prince Henry the Navigator. Nunca lo había escuchado este Henry el Navegante. Yo nunca lo había escuchado. So he built an observatory and navigation school to teach sailors how to find their ways. Imagínense. Que no había, Henry el Navegador, nunca lo había, el Navegante, Henry el Navegante, puede ser la traducción en español. Yeah. In 1488, a ship led by Bartolomé Diaz succeeded in sailing around the south tip of Africa, la parte baja de África. The crew, tired and afraid of raging seas, forced Diaz to turn back, regresar. However, they had found a way around Africa. Entonces aquí viene Vasco de Gama. Vasco de Gama sails around, él es portugués, sail around Africa and landed on west coast of India. Ajá, ahí conseguimos entonces las especies que queríamos. In 1498, a sea route that Asia had been found, que habían encontrado en Asia. Okay, aquí está Vasco de Gama, y este señor que está aquí, el feo, es este que está aquí, es este. Henry the Navigator. This is Henry the Navigator. Now, estas son las rutas de los portugueses. Mire, toda esta área, ellos descubrieron esta área por aquí a veces la ruta de Inner. Ellos entraron, esta es la India. Llegaron, esto es India. Llegaron hasta India, Bombay, Capo de Hope Esperanza, Cabo de Nueva Esperanza, Buena Esperanza, que la cosa Madagascar. Todo esto lo recorrieron ellos, ¿ya? También vinieron por acá y creo que también llegaron acá los portugueses. Por eso es que en Brasil se habla portugués. Así que llegaron también en esta área por acá y conquistaron esta área de Brasil. ¿Ya, chicos? Yeah. European Exploration. Tenemos otra mapa donde ve la exploración. Estos son, los verdes son de los portugueses, los españoles, los rojos, los franceses y los ingleses. Naranja. Naranja, ellos vinieron por acá los ingleses. Sí, recorrieron todo esto alrededor del mundo. Ellos hicieron todo alrededor del mundo. Bien, chicos. Muy importante. Vamos a ver por cuál voy yo. Voy por la 9. New World. Vamos a parar aquí, chicos. Vamos a parar aquí. Me hace falta. Ya vamos casi por la mitad de PowerPoint. Mañana vamos a ver otras personalidades. Pero por lo menos yo tengo aquí, I have a video that talks about these characters. Henry the Navigator, Vasco da Gama. Here it is. Let's begin with, Vasco da Gama. Let's begin with Vasco da Gama. And then Henry Navigator and Fernando Magallanes. And the last one, Hernan Cortés, okay?
Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama was the first person to successfully sail from Europe around Africa to Southeast Asia.
Vasco da Gama was the one who opened up the maritime trade route between Europe and Asia. In my view, his going through the South Atlantic and around the Cape was equivalent to our putting a man on the moon.
Born to a noble family in Sines, Portugal, around 1469, Vasco da Gama took to the sea at an early age.
Vasco da Gama worked on merchant ships in the king's service, learning how to be a navigator, learning all of the things that he would later need to know in order to command an expedition.
Da Gama earned a commission to find a sea route to India and set sail with a 4-ship expedition in July 1497 from Lisbon down the coast of Africa.
So the prevailing winds move north, you're trying to sail south. Da Gama sailed out into the Atlantic, right? Basically almost as far as Brazil.
Once there, Da Gama was able to use the prevailing southern winds to take him south past Africa.
What's historic about Da Gama's voyage around the Cape of Good Hope is precisely that Da Gama figured out how to do this. He is the first one successfully to get into the Indian Ocean, work his way up the coast of East Africa, and ultimately reach India.
The water route from Europe to Asia was very important because it gave direct access to the spices of the Far East.
Vasco da Gama is welcomed as a hero on his return to Lisbon to 1499 because the profits made from the goods that he had brought back from India demonstrated the wealth that could be achieved from this new route linking Portugal directly with Indian Ocean markets.
Da Gama covered more than 24,000 miles in his historic trip to India, and of the 170 original crew members, only 54 made it home alive.
In 1502, King Manuel tapped Da Gama to lead this larger expedition to again initiate trade directly between Portugal and the spice markets of India. This expedition from the Portuguese point of view is a success because Da Gama is able to force his way into the markets. And when I say force, I mean using cannons to literally blast his way into the harbor and force the rulers to trade with him.
Upon Da Gama's return to Portugal 2 years later, he retired from exploration and became King Manuel's advisor. However, in 1524, the new king, John III, persuaded him to return to India to become its viceroy. He died in India in 1538.
Because Vasco da Gama found this route to India, he succeeded in making Portugal a principal supplier of high-profit luxury commodities like pepper to the European markets. This in turn made the Portuguese state extremely wealthy and turned Portugal into a great power.
That was Magallanes. Let's see Henry the Navigator.
Prince Henry the Navigator was born in 1394, the fifth child of King John I of Portugal. Although he actually only went on 2 voyages, Prince Henry is known for opening the Age of Exploration, which lasted for 200 years and spread far beyond his native Portugal. At the time, people were largely unconcerned and unaware of countries and cultures beyond their own borders. Prince Henry was fascinated with the geography and riches of Africa. He was also interested in finding a better trade route for spices. Instead of exploring himself, he established the first school of navigation in 1418. He invited mapmakers, scientists, and navigators to come. These scholars trained the sailors to use compasses, astrolabes, and other important navigating instruments. He sponsored development of the caravel, a new type of ship for exploring. When the school was established, no one had sailed past Cape Borodor on the African coast. It was an area of violent storms and strong currents. Prince Henry sponsored ships to sail past that point. In 1434, Captain Gil Eanes finally succeeded. From 1444 to 1446, Prince Henry sponsored 40 ships to explore the west coast of Africa. He wanted to add to the geographic knowledge of the time, along with finding a trade route to the east and the discovery of riches. Prince Henry died in 1460, having lived to see Portugal become the world's leader in sea exploration.
Okay, now Fernand Magallanes. We're going to talk about this guy tomorrow, I think. But anyway.
Ferdinand Magellan was the man who proved that the world was round.
Ferdinand Magellan showed extraordinary courage by setting out to sail around the globe when there were still many who believed the world was flat and that he would fall off.
Magellan was born in Sabrosa, Portugal around 1480 and studied navigation at an early age.
In 1505, Magellan traveled with the new arriving Portuguese viceroy to India and got his first taste of sea travel, the itch to explore. He moved around Southeast Asia and maybe even traveled as far as Indonesia and what were then known as the Spice Islands.
This is almost certainly where he first got the idea of approaching the Spice Islands by sailing west across the Atlantic rather than east around Africa and then into the Indian Ocean.
When Magellan returned to Europe, he tried to get financing for an expedition to find this new western route to Asia. Eventually traveling past what is today Argentina, Magellan found a route to the Pacific, which is now known as the Straits of Magellan.
Crossing into the Pacific, what Magellan had expected would be a relatively brief voyage to reach the eastern coast of Asia turned out to be 6 months in the open sea before they finally made landfall at Guam, at which point the sailors were, of course, near starvation.
When Magellan and his crew arrived in the Philippines, this was charted territory. They knew where they were.
While still in the Philippines, Magellan was killed by a poisoned arrow on April 27, 1521, in a battle with the locals. His crew continued on without him, and finally reached Spain in September 1522, thus definitively proving that the world is round.
Magellan changed the way Europeans navigated. He increased the knowledge of seafaring navigation exponentially, and in the process made the world a much smaller place.
Okay, now let's see history about. Last one is Hernan Cortés. My
Video will stay in the marketing repertoire of Yeti for many years, and we can do that, using the Vimeo platform. From a marketing perspective, it's great for us because it's
Hernan Cortés is remembered for conquering the Aztec Empire and also for being the first governor of New Spain.
Hernán Cortés was born around 1485 in Medellin, Spain, to a noble family.
Hernán Cortés left Spain in 1504 for Hispaniola and then ends up in Cuba in 1511.
Cortés convinced the Cuban governor to appoint him captain general of a large expedition to establish a colony in Mexico in 1518.
In Mexico, Cortés establishes Veracruz and has himself elected as the captain general.
Cortés chose to scuttle his ships so that there would not be a turning back to Cuba.
At the time, what is now Mexico was governed by the Aztecs, and Cortés set out for their capital, Tenochtitlan.
When he arrives in the capital, he meets Moctezuma, the emperor of the Aztec Empire, gives him gifts, and then promptly takes him hostage.
Cortés was distracted, however, when he learned that the Cuban governor sent a force to confront him. Leaving Pedro de Alvarado in charge of Tenochtitlan while he dealt with this new threat, Cortés took the Cuban commander hostage and then convinced the troops to switch sides and join him.
When Hernán Cortés returns to Tenochtitlan, he finds Tenochtitlan up in arms because Pedro de Alvarado, during his absence, massacred several priests, committed atrocities.
Cortés insisted that Montezuma intervene. Montezuma faced the rioting crowds and was killed by a rock thrown by protesters.
The Spanish are then driven from the city with considerable losses in what is called the Noche Triste, or Sad Night. And Cortés then is forced to regroup.
With the help of many native allies who did not like the Aztecs, Cortés returned to Tenochtitlan in 1521, laid siege to the city, and finally conquered it.
In 1523, Cortés is named the Captain General of New Spain and Governor of Mexico.
Eventually, Cortés returned to exploring. He traveled through Central America and discovered California. In 1541, he retired to his estate in Sevilla, Spain, and died on December 2nd, 1547.
Cortés's legacy is a complex one. On one hand, he is the conqueror of Mexico. He brought and extended the Spanish Empire, but from the indigenous point of view, he was a mass murderer.
Conquering the Aztec Empire led to the destruction of one of the greatest civilizations that was known in the world at that time.
Okie dokie, guys. Okay, so this is what I got for you today. I don't have any more because this chapter is really short. Only talk about all these bodies, okay? So it's really short, and I just wanted to make it more entertaining through these videos. I'm gonna bring some more next class. Now, guys, remember next week we're gonna have the second test, okay? And the topics are gonna be Beyond Italy and the Christian Reform. These two chapters. With these two chapters, I'm gonna prepare a test. That's test number 2. And the last test is gonna be about the rest of what we have studied so far, okay? So guys, remember, try to complete all the assessment. This is chapter number 5 assessment and 5 vocabulary, and get it ready. Get it ready. It has to be ready. I'm not gonna tell you when, okay? So don't ask me, teacher, when or where I'm supposed to load up the information. No, I will let you know eventually. I will. You have to have it. You need to have it ready, just in case. Are we clear, guys? Do you have any questions? Any questions? Questions?
Oh, bueno, profe, no, del proyecto trimestral, ¿vamos a tener uno?
The what?
Trimestral project.
No, we don't know. In this subject, we're not gonna have a project, okay? In this subject, we had it last term, but in this occasion, we're gonna have a text, a very long test. Okay, but anyway, I know you're gonna do it Good. You're going to do great. Don't worry, because and try to pick up the main things. So don't worry. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be a little bit long, but it's gonna be easy. So don't worry, guys. Okay. As long as you study. As long as you study. If you don't study, then you're gonna get in trouble. Okay, guys. Then see you next class. Have a nice week. Bye bye. Take care. See ya. Bye bye.